Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we examine the news from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, and your suggestions, and we put everything together so that we can then connect the dots, connect with one another, connect with the destination, and have a better life here in Puerto Vallarta. As a community of English-speaking locals, if you're new here, let us know that you're new. My name is Paco, and I'd love to welcome you, and the rest of the cluster would too. I'm wearing a little something today because it's part of today's narrative. This is a little necklace necklace scarf. That's what it is. And I wear it. I'm taking it off because it's warm here, but I'm wearing it for a reason. I had an unexpected close encounter with a hero of mine, and I'm going to tell you about this after we get done with the broadcast today. Why am I telling you this? Because I thought you might want to hear about it. And who is this hero? Well, she is the person that designed the necklace that I showed you. So we're going to talk about that a little later, but first, let me start by saying that if you have something important that you wish to share, that you wish to ask today during the broadcast, or that you want a reaction on, please feel free to let us know by adding a capital letter Q to your comment. Spencer has done such a thing. Which snorkeling tour company do you suggest? I don't suggest any, unfortunately, because I don't snorkel, but if you know of anybody, if anybody in the cluster has an answer for Spencer, kindly connect the dots. Today, we have updates in this first day of September. We have updates on the air conditioning bus fiasco. We have updates on the sanitary guidelines that are currently in place here in Puerto Vallarta and in the state of Jalisco for that matter. And we have another cookie idea that came out of City Hall that we just have to react to. And why not? Let's get going. Okay, so we announced that the city buses are now obligated to turn the air conditioning on. And this is after after our governor was in town, and he was in town last week. And of course, you remember that on Monday, I rode on two buses, and neither of them had the air conditioning on. So I'm going to, oh, Christy, I'm so glad to see you here because you're going to love this story that I'm going to share at the end. Anyhow, now we have learned more interesting things about the buses. We have now learned that of all the buses that have air conditioning, well, first of all, not all the buses have air conditioning on them. If you see a bus coming and it doesn't have a hump on top of its roof, that means it does not have an air conditioning system installed. So that would be the first parameter that you would want to look at if you want to make sure or want to try to benefit from an air-conditioned bus here in the city. But what we've learned is that of all the buses that have that hump, of all the buses that are supposed to turn the air conditioning on for our summer benefit, 52% are working. That's it. Half of them are in working condition. 20% need some maintenance. And then 28%, since the air conditioning units were never used, or maybe never even loaded with Freon, that gas that produces the cold air, they need more maintenance for them to turn them on. So the transportation secretary for the state of Jalisco said, no problem. We will be in constant communication to make sure that this maintenance plan is followed. And I hope that that was the Secretary of Transportation shit-eating green way of saying, okay, we'll be watching to make sure that you make it happen. Or at least that's my wishful thinking. I have not, thank you. I have not been on an air-conditioned bus for months. And I will be so surprised and so grateful the next time I hop on a bus that has air conditioning. And as long as we're talking about buses, we have learned that the state's health authorities have announced that the current sanitary guidelines will remain in effect until the month of August. That is, the proper use of a face mask in public transportation, airport, bus terminals, and health units such as hospitals, clinics, and so forth remains in effect. Which is fine by me, honestly. I've had no problems with the health mandates. I don't know if you have found them inconvenient. Authorities do also recommend that we should keep a distance from anyone presenting respiratory disease symptoms. And hopefully you are being proactive with that mandate as well. Of course, once October comes, then we'll be right around the corner from the winter months. And we have heard from Hugo Lopez-Gatell, the country's Undersecretary of Health, that we may experience another wave of the pandemic in the winter months. So by the time the sanitary board meets again, it may be not for the better, but for the worse. Let us keep our fingers crossed and keep being respectful of these guidelines. I also want to let you know that President López Obrador has announced that the families of the 10 miners that were trapped in a coal mine in Coahuila will be indemnified as established by the federal labor law. Authorities still believe that it will take them between 6 to 11 months to get to the spot where the trapped miners are located, removing any hope left for family members to see their loved ones alive. And good news for frequent Puerto Vallarta international travelers. Puerto Vallarta's international airport has eliminated the multiple migratory format, or FMM form, which supposedly diminishes the time you spend going through immigration when you arrive and bringing that time down to an average of 10 minutes. If that is the case, how wonderful. That said, if the measure has been in place for a month now, as I understand it, so if anybody wants to share any arrival experiences you've had within the last month, whether it was fast or not, whether they asked for a form or not, feel free to do so in your comments. It is worth mentioning that so far this year, the airport has processed the arrival of an average of 1,106,550 passengers, and the forms allows the government to know their name, passport number, address where they are staying, and the reason why they are traveling to Puerto Vallarta. So how will our government find out these details moving forward if this information is not required? Well, that is a mystery, isn't it? And it's one for which I don't have an answer. Let us take a quick look at the weather forecast. Aha, where are you, weather forecast? There you are. Your hair looks so soft, says snarky weatherman. I don't know that he knows what he's talking about as far as my hair is concerned. Anyhow, low humidity, only 75%. 28 degrees Celsius right now, 75% humidity, 82 Fahrenheit. And our weather forecast for today says rain in the morning. I think we had some drizzles earlier on. And purum pam pim pam pum. Our high temperature for today is 33. Our low temperature is 25. Tomorrow, Friday, rain in the evening with a high of 33 and a low of 25. And Saturday, we can expect a humid and mostly cloudy day with a high of 32 and a low of 25. Will it rain Sunday? Possibly. Light rain in the evening and overnight. But for the meantime, or in the meantime, we can enjoy the good weather that we have been enjoying lately. Moving right along, oh dear, yes, I have this story to tell. Here we go. Who is this woman and why is she smiling? Her name is Carla Castro Lopez, and she's one of the council members here in Puerto Vallarta for our government. He represents the Partido Verde Ecologista, or Green Ecology Party. I don't know that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't care. I have nothing against her. But in the latest council session, she presented a lengthy statement arguing that a certain personality, ay Dios, should be named Puerto Vallarta ambassador. But before I tell you who she thinks should be a good ambassador for Puerto Vallarta, let us first examine what these ambassadors are supposed to do and what happened to the ones named previously. Well, the answer to this can vary according to each arrangement, but in a nutshell, an ambassador commits to representing Puerto Vallarta and promoting Puerto Vallarta around the world, given their star status or their fame or whatever, and to apply themselves in whatever modality they engage in professionally to attract tourism to Puerto Vallarta. They are compensated. They're compensated financially, as I understand it. They receive a lump sum. For example, Canelo Alvarez, the race car driver, was, I think, the local government, the local tourism board, rather, paid him 5 million pesos to wear the word Jalisco in his helmet and supposedly the word Puerto Vallarta. I could be wrong on the amount, so please don't quote me. So this is what they are supposed to do. So what has happened to the ones that were named before? Well, you may recall that last year in November, right after Mayor Michel came into office, he submitted the idea that box fighter Canelo Alvarez should become the ambassador to our city, along with his trainer Eddie Reynoso. He even offered them the keys to the city. Well, the fighter Canelo Alvarez didn't even show up. He didn't even come to the city for the award ceremony. So our mayor had no choice but to just name his trainer Eddie Reynoso, who I'm sure is very famous in some circles, but maybe not that many. Have we heard from him? Do we know what has happened since he became ambassador for the city? And let's remember, we already have one. It's a boxer trainer. His name is Eddie Reynoso. Prior to them, Alejandro Fernandez was named one such ambassador, and so was pianist Raúl Di Blasio. Now, Alejandro Fernandez has a home here, but his home is in Riviera Nayarit, not in Puerto Vallarta. And the pianist supposedly composed a song for Puerto Vallarta. Have you heard it? Do you see it promoted anywhere? I mean, is it a tune that you can hum? When Juan Gabriel was invited to perform here, at least he composed a song for Puerto Vallarta that became popular as performed by the amazing late singer Rocío Dúrcal. Did he ask for anything from the government? No, he did not. And when he performed for free in Puerto Vallarta during Gustavo González Villaseñor's government, he didn't charge a penny. So now you're probably wondering, number one, why do we want these so-called ambassadors? And who does this city council smiling gal want for ambassador to Puerto Vallarta? Well, none other than the aforementioned race car driver, Checo Pérez. A little late for this. There you go. What can we do about these things? Probably very little. What does it matter as far as our daily lives? Probably little, but one has to be amazed at how much time must be spent at City Hall arguing back and forth these proposals for things that really, at the end of the day, do not bring that much into our lives, and certainly not into our city from a promotional point of view. And that was my little personal rant this morning. Thank you for indulging it. Let me also continue by sharing this, which is completely different. As you know, I'm a sucker for wellness articles, and now I've found this one from Huffington Post. How to make your weekend feel longer. Well, it may be the weekend, or it may be the Tuesday or Wednesday that you take off, or whatever. But this article was helpful to me because it pointed out a few things that I can work on. It boils down your strategy to several categories, such as plan some of your time, curb your screen use, and find a hobby. Do activities that are different from your day-to-day work. Put work away. And I definitely am guilty of these last two. I usually end up doing most of the same things I do on my days, I think, which I work. Then finding a balance between going out and resting. I am really good at that one because I end up staying home more often than not. And last but not least, stay in the moment. This is a lovely article that I found this morning, and it'll be such a pleasure to share it with you. And now a quick and dirty love letter to one of my online heroes, and I want to show you a detail of this piece again. And what you'll notice is that it is a really thin, oh, it's tangled, hold on. It's a really thin necklace and a really thin scarf, and what you'll notice about it is that it's very, very lacy, it's very, very open. And the reason I like these designs is because they are perfect for Puerto Vallarta weather. Who's the author of this piece? Well, her name is Kristin Omdahl, and I discovered Kristin's YouTube channel a while back when I started crocheting again, and very much fell in love with all her designs because of that, because they're open-laced. They're perfect for Puerto Vallarta weather, where it seldom gets so cold that you need something heavier. Anyhow, she is an amazing lady. She's published books. She publishes tutorials on how to crochet. She lives in an RV in Florida, and she frequently goes live on YouTube. So this morning, while I was getting ready to start programming the broadcast and figuring out what we were going to talk about, I noticed that she went live. And I figured, I've been wanting to tell her how much I appreciate her creativity for the longest time. And I went into her live, and there she was in her RV with her little kitty cat. Luna's now gone, but she was there, and I said hello, and she responded, and I totally felt like a schoolgirl. It was so wonderful, and it gave me a great appreciation as to how you and I interact. Because, for example, this morning she improvised. She didn't have a lot of content to share, so she was essentially waiting for people to ask questions, and I can relate to that. Sometimes I don't know exactly what to talk about, and sometimes I linger and so forth and so on. But the bottom line is that I had the opportunity to converse with her. At some point, I asked her, how did you become so empowered? Because she is a one-woman show. She knows her Mac. She knows her design programs to create crochet patterns. She's of a certain age, and I'm not going to say she's old or not old, but I can tell she's of a certain age. So I'm always amazed when I find people of a certain age that empower themselves to do things. So when I asked her, how did you empower herself? It was really sweet, because she says to me, well, maybe I can give you some tips at some point, or so forth and so on. Of course, she doesn't know that I go live 6 days a week. But again, it was such a pleasure to connect with her. And if she gets to watch this, I will be so flattered. Here's another thing that I made by her. This is a larger shawl, that is another one of her designs. But they look very complicated, but they're so easy to make. But again, the beautiful thing is that they are all lacy, open, and that's the end of my love letter. I guess, why do I share this with you? Because I hope we never lose the ability to reinvent ourselves. I hope we never lose to strive to embark in new projects and to be successful at them. So when earlier we were talking about how to make your weekends feel longer, maybe you want to pick up crochet. And if you do, watching Kristin Omdahl online on her very user-friendly tutorials is one sure way to go. And I will leave her website and her YouTube channel for you to be able to explore, should you care to become a hooker like me. Yes, I am a hooker. Now let's take a look at your comments. Thank you for indulging me that. Luisa says, best look birthday ever. Steak at Bravo's restaurant, sun, buggy tour, snorkeling, and shout out from Paco. Perfection. It is my pleasure. I'm so glad that you guys had a good time. And of course, I cannot think of a better restaurant to enjoy a birthday than Bravo's. Michael always delivers. Lots of great good mornings today, and it's such a pleasure to read them. Let's see. Ba-dim-pam-pam. Yes, Bravos is the best. Let's see what else we have. I was watching the webcam at Cuates y Cuetes this morning and saw a beautiful rainbow. Oh my God, that reminds me that there's a great jazz show coming up on Saturday in 2 days at Cuates y Cuetes. We will definitely bring up some reminders for activities to explore this weekend. We'll do that tomorrow morning. Let's see. We did this one before, but Spencer, I hope you find the connection that you're looking for. Let's see. Ooh, Sage, who is a recent Puerto Vallarta arrival as a full-time person, is celebrating birthday month. How exciting. And I know that Sage has been thinking, well, we should all get together kind of thing. And I was thinking this morning, I don't know if this is evil. You tell me what you think. But if we came up with an impromptu get together at a restaurant and we didn't tell them that we were coming, I'm just wondering if we would do more damage than good. But the idea sounded really, really alluring to me. What do you think about that? Should we crash a restaurant just for the sake of it without letting them know? Or should we let them know ahead of time? Please write your thoughts on the comments. Let's see. Christy, you're still here. Well, I hope you're still here. But hey, check it out. I tell you, Christy, because you're a hooker like I am, you love your yarn. Kristin Omdahl is such an inspiring gal. And I know that you also crochet, so hopefully you will make that connection. Let's see. Glee rode 2 buses yesterday without an AC. Join the club. I love it. Michael says, I honestly think that the bus service years ago was the best. We knew what we were getting and always running late into the night and in every direction. That reminds me, Michael, thank you for mentioning the nighttime bus. I read somewhere recently in one of the news items that they're bringing back the night owl bus service, but they need to decide where the stops are going to be as the location relates to the safety of women, which is of paramount importance to the local government, I think. So as soon as they know when they're going to do it, I'll be happy to let you know. Mateo celebrating 44 years of living in Mexico today, and his oldest cat turns 22. Oh my goodness. What a great opportunity to celebrate. Eric says, do you know where booster shots for COVID are being administered, and also are monkeypox vaccines available yet? I know that booster shots for adults are no longer announced by campaign, and they are available at all the local health centers. And so my best suggestion for you, Eric, is to go to the nearest one to where you are, which would probably be the Mendiola one, which is out by El Remance, and get in touch with them and find out if they have them and what the eligibility requirements are. As far as monkeypox vaccines, I don't think that conversation has even started publicly by the Mexican government. I mean, I'm sure they're talking about it, but I don't think there are enough cases in Mexico to encourage the government to move in that direction. I could be wrong, but as soon as I hear something, I'll be so very happy to mention it here, as our well-being is very, very important. Let's see. Oh, Sage comments, my husband and I arrived on August 2nd and were one of the first to receive an electronic FME, the new FMM. So they do stamp your passport and they write the number of days on it, and you take a picture of the QR code at the immigration desk, which you need to go to later to a website to complete your FME and print it out. So you still need a printout on you. Okay, so if I'm reading you correctly, they just get you through the airport really quickly, but then you have the commitment of going to a website and filling in the information. So hopefully people are doing that. That is very interesting. I haven't flown on a plane forever, and I haven't done an international flight in at least 2 years, maybe 3. So I wouldn't know about these things. Charlotte chimes in. Apart from the time-saving element, the removal form is also in place. It also makes it easier for a computer-based system to track people who come in and out on 30 to 180-day visas. The idea is to monitor that and not allow it with such frequency. Interesting. Am I the only one curious how snarky the weather application gets? Paco mentioned that he has it at a low level setting of snarkiness. I'll tell you what, Luisa, since you brought it up, as soon as we finish the broadcast today, I will set it to the high level of snarkiness, and we can see if there's a difference. Let's see what else. Thank you for the comments on the crochet. Jeff says, I need to make those for women to wear at the beach as a bathing suit, I suppose. Well, I make them for me to wear at the beach as a bathing suit, and that's something you may not want to see up close, but that's okay. Let's see what else. Thank you very much for that, Christy. I know that it's not like there's a bunch of hookers here, but I was really, it meant so much to me to connect with someone that I admire on a personal basis. It was just great. I'm not even going to touch that, Luisa. You're so silly. I have a question to our restaurateur friends. Do you have any gluten-free items on your menus? If yes, would you be willing to share the details with me? Working on a gluten-free dining directory for my own use and also for others with similar needs. Thank you. I think that is a very, very worthwhile pursuit, Meggie as in Peggy. And I'm sure that if you choose to share your findings with other people, whether it is here at the cluster or elsewhere, you will be appreciated. Occasionally, I see people posting things like that on some of the Facebook boards. So that might be another place where you may be able to find helpful information. Best wishes with that. Happy hooker, says Candace Shaw. You know, Candace, I was at Cassandra's, your sister's jewelry shop the other day, because I need to shop for a pin. I need to shop for a pin to secure some of my garments. And I saw some pins that smiled at me, and that's all I'm going to say. So if you decide that you want to go looking for pins for your shawls that you haven't made, Cassandra Shaw has them, and Candace is probably going to be there as well to help you out pick a nice piece of jewelry. Okay, so we will be well behaved. Chris says it's always best to let the restaurant know a group is coming. I know. I'm being silly. I work in a restaurant. Let them know. Totally makes sense. We'll be in town next Thursday for a week. Can't wait and would love a get together for a drink or two. If you're buying, we'll make it so. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We are down to crashing a restaurant with you and fellow clusters. You know, I don't think we should crash it. The idea of of making a restaurant go into a panic sounds good in the imagination, but I know having enough restaurant friends, it would not be a nice thing to do. Let's see. So Michael's Facebook post this morning, exciting things going on for his restaurants. Michael, I hope you get to take a few days off for yourself. Well, I haven't seen the post, but I do know that Michael is remodeling Bravos, and I am so excited about that. Yay. Let's see, Tommy. Hello, Tommy. Restaurants stage the arrival so there is overlap but not overwhelming. Great suggestion. Now, I would always let a restaurant know. Let's see. Today is a great day to start a new goal since it's the first of the month. Absolutely. So if you like the tradition of starting a new goal on the first of the month, way to go. La 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 la. Deb says no crashing. Scary thought about food availability and service, unless it's Gina, of course. She's always on top of things. Well, I think you're absolutely right, but she knew we were coming on our last meet and greet, and yet they got very camote. They got quite overwhelmed, and that was very humbling because everybody, you guys were so awesome and patient and loving, and the restaurant enjoyed themselves, and we're grateful. We're grateful for our appearance. Mark says his wife is a hooker. Yay. She just joined Yarn Benders, and Yarn Benders is a local group of people that work with fiber, a bunch of hookers. And I know that they had an afternoon gathering recently, and I was invited to it, and I didn't even respond, which is a very horrible thing to do. But I'm always so busy. But I would love to go and get together with a bunch of people and hook together. Oh, Candace says they're going on vacation till October 3rd. That is absolutely wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. Enjoy the time off. I know that you guys always go to really fantastic places, and I'm sure this will not be an exception. And this, of course, brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I wish it was a little cooler so that I could wear these chingaderas, but not yet. I'm planning for the fall and the winter. In the meantime, we'll be back here tomorrow. So I hope that between today and tomorrow, your bus ride will be air conditioned, your cup of coffee will be plentiful, and your source of love will have no borders. How's that? See you soon.